Hi, welcome to my channel. The first DIY is going to be a twist headband. You need a stretchy fabric and two rectangles. The first rectangle will be 8 inches by 10 inches wide, and the other will also be 8 inches by 10 inches wide. Once you're able to cut out the first rectangle, you're going to use that to cut out the next piece. And you should have two rectangles now. The next step will be to lay them on top of each other, right side facing right side. And you're going to pin them down together in place. And once you're done pinning them down together, you'd have to run a straight stitch all the way across. I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and then I'm going to run a straight stitch all the way across. By the time I was done doing this was the result. The next step will be to fold this in half. Once you're done doing this, you'd have to pin it together in place. By the time you're done pinning it together, you'd have to run a straight stitch to the part you pinned down. So I'm going to run a straight stitch and you should have something like this. The next step will be to turn this inside out. I'm going to turn this inside out and it should look like this. The next step will be to fold this in half and then gently turn the upper part to the other side. And the next step will be to pin the ends together in place. By the time I was done pinning the ends together, I ran a straight stitch all the way across to secure that. So I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and then I'm going to do just that. By the time I was done running the straight stitch, I had a little opening left. So what you should do when you have that little opening is to bend it in place. You fold it in place and then run a straight stitch all the way across to secure it, so you don't have loose ends. And by the time I was done, this is what it looked like. So here is the part that was the opening part, or the little opening I had. And we are basically done with the twist headband. I'm quickly going to show you what it looks like. The next sewing project will be a small tea towel. We would also need a rectangle for this piece, but a bigger rectangle. So I'm going to measure 14 inches on one side and 14 inches on the other end. So this is the right side, but I'm going to turn it to the other side, which is the wrong side. So the wrong side will be facing up. And the next step will be to fold this in twice and then pin this down and run a straight stitch. So I'll fold it once. You could iron it if you'd like, and then fold it again, iron it, and then pin it down. Makes it easier for you to run a straight stitch all the way across. By the time I was done, I had to do this for all of the 4 sides of the rectangle. So I just took this to my sewing machine and then I'm going to do that and I'll show you what it looks like. So by the time I was done running a straight stitch all the way across 4 sides, here is what it looked like. And your tea towel is ready. If you're getting value from this video, please give this video a thumbs up. And we're basically done with the tea towel. The last but not the least DIY will be a scrunchie. Yay! So we would also need a rectangle for this piece, but we need a 4" by 20" rectangle. So you need one side should be 4" wide and the other side should be 20" wide. So you're going to fold this right side facing right side, just like this. And the next step will be to pin this down So once this was pinned down in place, I'll go run a straight stitch and then I'll show you what it looks like. So here is the result of the straight stitch. And the next step will be to turn this inside out. So you could use a pin to turn this if you'd like, but I'm just going to gently do this until I get to the end. And then I'll show you what it looks like. By the time I was done, this is the result of turning it inside out. And then I'm going to introduce my elastic band. I'm going to use the pin to insert this into my rectangle. And then I'm going to trace this. You'd insert this and you have to make it go all the way across to the other side while I'm holding the end of the elastic band. And you should have something like this. So what I'm going to do is to tie a knot with the elastic band. But if you have a thicker elastic band, I would suggest you run a zigzag stitch just to secure that in place. So I tied a knot because I had a more flexible elastic band. So I'm going to cut out the excess. By the time I was done cutting out the excess part, I had some loose ends, so I had to fold that in place properly. And you could use a hand needle to finish this up, or you could also run a straight stitch on your sewing machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the elastic band on the scrunchie to one side, and then I'm just going to run a straight stitch. I mean, you could use a needle, whichever works for you. I'll do that and then I'll show you what it looks like. By the time I was done, this was the result and our scrunchie is ready. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you had value from it. And do not forget to subscribe and